The race between the United States and the Soviet Union to bring scientists from the defeated countries to their own countries to aid in the development of new technologies began near the end of World War II. At the time, Nazi Germany had the only military possessing rocket technology weaponized for use in warfare and part of their offensive arsenal of weaponry. The United States considered it luck or possibly provenance to have acquired roughly 90% of those who were responsible for developing Nazi rocket technology. Among the reported number of 1,600 repatriated scientists taken into the United States was the man responsible for the research and development of rocket technologies for the Third Reich during the war, Werner von Braun. Military and intelligence officials had already decided that the first country to control not only the sky but all the space between the Earth and the Moon. Having domination of the encompassing space between the Earth and its moon, would ensure having control of any other country by either allowing or denying access to use this region for any purpose. Total control of this space warranted belief that fear of an attack or retribution within the other countries would have a deterring effect against any ideas of hostilities toward the dominant country controlling the skies and beyond. Understanding this, and knowing the potential for other countries to also seek this dominance, the officials went to von Braun and expressed their intention to dominate and control the region of space between the Moon and the Earth. They further explained their ambitions to build a base on the Moon. Having laid out the case for obtaining global dominance without even waging war for it, they promised von Braun that he would be a hero to America, and implored him to begin the required research and development of all technologies. They made him many promises: he would have an unlimited budget, he could build his laboratory where he wished, employ whoever he wanted, and many others. With the planning and forethought involved while preparing for this meeting with von Braun, they were certain that he would fully cooperate. Von Braun said that there was no way he could ever refuse such a generous offer, and that he was sorry, he could not assist them on this endeavor. They countered back that he expressly pledged to never refuse a request to work on any project that was asked of him. He said that it wasn't because he was refusing, but rather that it was impossible. He further explained by asking them this question: if it was possible to go to the Moon, do you not think that the Nazis would have already went? Once your Wright brothers demonstrated the ability of the airplane to lift man from the terra firma, our scientists immediately reached the conclusion you have only now came to realize. You want to start work on this now, and how long do you think it will take to achieve this goal? We German scientists began researching and developing new technologies for this before the First War. We had been working for this for over 40 years. Do you see a giant swastika on the Moon? No, you don't, and never will see one or anything else on its surface other than what is already there. We were in the final stage of preparing for the voyage. All the research and development of every required component was done from a blank slate. It took us 40 years. We were so convinced that we would have a base there within 2 years' time, we felt compelled to start the war to cause all other countries to focus on their war effort instead of space exploration. We did so in hopes of ensuring no one would beat us there in case they were in the process of developing similar technology. Just prior to launching the manned flight to the Moon, we sent a flight laden with support material to be available in advance of the manned mission. We never performed any test flights, there was no need of wasting the money or resources for that. A person would think that this is a simple matter: launch a rocket, direct it to its target, have it land, and that's it. It turns out that it is not a simple matter. Instead, it is most complicated with many unforeseen obstacles. We became acutely aware of the obstacles shortly after launch. We estimate that it traveled no further than 3,200 miles before we lost all contact with it, and it was no longer visible to us though we tirelessly continued searching, and all attempts to re-establish communication failed. We had no idea what happened and we were without explanation. In effort to learn what happened, we decided to see if a second launch would have the same outcome as the first launch, or if anything different would happen. We ended up with the same results. We then began launching rockets with the same trajectory and then many other trajectories, always with the same result. On each attempt, we received the same result. It was then proposed that what we were witnessing was the firmament, which is included in the story of creation, told in the first book of the Bible, Genesis. It tells us that God created a firmament to serve as the barrier between the earth and the heavens. Those of us who were educated in Scripture had presumed that the firmament only referred to the stars and all that encompasses the realm of space beyond our atmosphere. Keep in mind, during this time it was dangerous to reveal any religious affiliations, and deadly to do so if you were Jewish, so no one spoke much of this and feigned ignorance in the interest of self-preservation. Without fear of death or being ostracized, I can now say that God is real, and the firmament exists as a physical barrier over the earth. We live in a closed system. We cannot leave. Even though I knew this, the others did not. No one involved wanted to think we wasted 40 years on an idea with an unachievable goal, so we explored the world over for ancient texts, forgotten lore, occult knowledge, any relevant information regardless of the source that would give a different explanation than the conclusion we had reached, hopefully convent the firmament. After searching every continent we came up empty-handed. As a last resort, our explorations led us to Antarctica. We were in a mad rush to find any information about this barrier. We all knew that without having the base on the moon as planned that we would surely lose the war. We knew when the world realized we could drop bombs on them at will from our moon base, that surely they would cede control of their land to us, including everything and everyone within their borders. It was there we learned that we had damned ourselves and Germany by starting a war to achieve the unachievable. We discovered that the barrier around the Earth actually joins with the ground in Antarctica. We also learned that it is deadly to touch or otherwise come in contact with it. More than a few perished from accidental contact. We had no way to learn what it is made of, as we had no means for gathering a sample. After learning all we could, which was not much, we returned to Berlin and reported to the Führer. We were instructed not to divulge any facts about any of it. He feared that if people learned of the existence of the firmament, that they would be drawn into practicing religion, and that he would be unable to recruit any new soldiers to fight and kill for him. He reasoned that if someone knows 100% without a doubt, that the God of the Bible is real, that they would follow his commandments, specifically thou shalt not kill, and would not follow orders on a battlefield. Absolute secrecy was mandated and execution was promised to be a swift reward awaiting any who violated his mandate. At this time, Hitler confided in the few who were present that if he had known the moon was not an obtainable objective, that this war would have never began. Going to the moon was the objection and the war was a distraction. Hitler also realized, as we all did, that without the moon to serve as our Wunderwaffe, and without the control of space, that we were doomed to lose the war, and our lives. As the reality of the situation set in more and more, Hitler began to imagine of a Wunderwaffe, a wonder weapon to win the war. He recalled all the scientists and put them back to work in an effort to build his Wunderwaffe. Each project had its own varying degree of weirdness and absurdity. Many of us thought he was going mad when we would learn of different projects being pursued, most notable is the Die Glock. Here in America the intelligence officers who have interviewed me many times referred to it as the bell. We may have been able to have perfected Die Glock, if only we had more time or began research sooner. Now we have to wait and see if the Soviets ever show the world Die Glock. Too bad they ended up with the scientists who were developing it. So, I am a smart man, and I can see that you do not believe me when I say as fact to you, the firmament is real, it was created in place by God. It is as real as you or I. If you refuse that I am honest with you in this, then send a trusted officer from your military on an expedition to Antarctica to confirm my truth to you. I feel it is relevant to note that on his grave marker, von Braun requested that only a simple engraving was to be his epitaph. Psalms chapter 19 verse 1 are the characters etched into the stone. I'm certain that I am correct by stating this was his way of giving testimony and making atonement for going on TV and presenting the public with fanciful ideas of the impossible. Very soon after the meeting with von Braun, Operation High Jump was launched. A veteran of expeditions to the coldest reaches of our Earth, Rear Admiral Richard E. Byrd organized the operation and was the officer in charge. Operation High Jump set under sail August 26, 1946, exactly 1 year and 2 weeks after Emperor Hirohito announced the total surrender of Japan, effectively ending World War II. Admiral Byrd's militaristic goals had been achieved and the expedition ended in late February, 1947. The expeditionary force included 4,700 men, 13 ships, and 33 aircraft. Operation High Jump's primary mission was to establish the Antarctic research base Little America 4. At least this is the official story provided to the American people. The true purpose was to confirm von Braun's testimony and accounting of a firmament that could be seen and touched in Antarctica. Shortly after arriving in the waters just off the coast of Antarctica, Admiral Byrd immediately ordered aerial reconnaissance of the surface of the land mass. With a 200-foot ice wall in either direction as far as they could see, only the pictures taken from their airplanes would allow them to view the surface, unless they decided to scale the wall of ice and set out on foot. No longer a spring chick, Admiral Byrd had to content himself with the photographs. There was only one problem with that. He was not receiving many photos because his pilots were too busy flying search and rescue missions to locate previous flights which experienced mystery mid-air collisions with something that was invisible and believed to be attacking them. It took 13 days to find and rescue the survivors of the last collision, which occurred on December 30, 1946. During the rescue, one of the rescuers stumbled and unfortunately ended up going head first into the firmament, and was immediately relieved of life. A survivor spoke up and said that he was going to warn them of that, but forgot due to the excitement of being rescued. He further explained how one of the other survivors emerged from the wreckage virtually unscathed. Since he was not hurt, he volunteered to go back to the coast and bring back a rescue team. Unfortunately for him, he set out in the wrong direction, and paid with his life because of it. For the remainder of their lives, when anyone would speak of this experience, they stated that when a person comes into contact with the firmament, that it makes a sound eerily similar to the sound heard when an insect flies into a bug zapper. Once the rescue team and the survivors returned to the naval fleet, Admiral Byrd debriefed each crewman individually. Afterwards, with corroboration established, he immediately gave the order to hoist anchors and left Antarctica under full steam. 3 days later, the main group arrived at the Bay of Whales on January 15, 1947. Once debriefed, Admiral Byrd was informed to never reveal the existence of the firmament. The reasoning behind the policy of non-disclosure eerily echoed the reasoning that von Braun had heard a few years earlier. In order to explain the loss of life and military equipment, an alternate recounting of events was given to Admiral Byrd to memorize so he could recite the official narrative during any subsequent interviews. His explanation of events amounted to the aircraft being shot down by incredibly fast-moving disc or saucer-shaped aircraft. He then remarked that, quote, "The fantastic speed with which the world is shrinking is one of the most important lessons learned during this recent Antarctic exploration," end quote. When a person first learns and accepts that they live in a closed system within a dome, that there is not an outer space that they can fly off into and explore, the world does indeed shrink very dramatically. Would you agree? To the dismay of those who ordered the expedition, von Braun did not lie. However, they consoled themselves from having planted the seeds to sway people to believe in an impossible reality. This impossible reality consists of magical faraway galaxies, alien flying saucers, and little green men who have nothing better to do with their time than to traverse light years through the universe only to mutilate some cows once they arrive. It seems that we live on the only planet in the cosmos that has cows. If not, then I'd like to know how many planets that have cows get passed up by the aliens when they are hunting for the infamous Earth cow? Not only are we lucky to have them, but we are twice as lucky that aliens totally find them irresistible and are drawn to them like magnets. In fact, our cows are so irresistible that they attract the attention of aliens from other dimensions as well. We are truly the envy of the universe because of our irresistible cows. Any rancher who has cattle can verify how dangerous it is out there at night for the cattle when they are unattended. Haha, do you like my jokes? I can be quite the wisecracker when the urge compels me. The seed that was planted after Operation High Jump has taken root in many people's heads. They gladly hand over money to explore that which is unexplorable. They have handed over billions and billions of dollars for a poorly constructed film set, and a grainy black and white fake moon landing, that was in no way thought through before releasing to the public. Today they use a green screen and CGI and people still pay billions for that load of manure. Having been protected from the truth from the policy of non-disclosure, they have been led astray from the most important, undeniable truth, that God is our Creator, He is in charge, He is who is to be served instead of others among us, who err in thinking their importance is above that of their fellow man, who yearn for control and demand your service for them and their agenda. Hopefully one day, the policy of non-disclosure will change into a policy of truth, and the pages of history will be rewritten with the truth, so that the ones who fail to use their own eyes and their own brains may finally discover the true nature of reality within our closed system, under the firmament that God created for us all. He put it there for our protection. Remember this, since we cannot go through it or get out from the closed system, then nothing can come through it or get into our closed system either. No one leaves, and no one enters without his permission. No outside threats have ever been allowed inside. Now you know the connection between von Braun and Admiral Byrd. The firmament was a commonality that can easily be demonstrated to show how it connects these two individuals. The firmament is also the commonality that shows us that He protects us all regardless of our beliefs. It proves His love for each one of us without exception. It is a commonality that serves as a connection between all the souls that He ever created and brought into existence. This connection shows that we are all children of the same God. This is proof that wherever you may be in life and regardless of any past sin committed, that He has always and forever will love and protect you. I have a lot of information regarding the true nature of our reality. Some examples are, what is this path we are on, where are we being led, official stories of past events and the truth and reality of those events, and many other topics. If you liked this truth of reality and wish for the truth be given to you, please leave a comment, hit the like button, share with someone you care about, or do nothing if you choose. The choice is yours, as is the freedom to make your own decisions, for now.